Assalamu alaikum class. How are you all? I hope you are fine and enjoying your good health. I am your teacher, Ma'am Rimsha, and this is your social studies lesson. So let's begin. So my dear students, today we are going to revise our unit number 9, Ancient Egypt. So hurry up, take out your books. Take out your book page number 55 and we will revise full chapter from book page number 55 till book page number 61. You should have your blue pencils or highlighters with you so you can underline all the main points from the chapter. Very good class. The learning objectives of this lesson are, by the end of this lesson, you should be able to locate Egypt on world map. You should be able to know the uses of River Nile for Egyptians, to know about houses in ancient Egypt, to know about pyramids, mummies and pharaohs, and to know about papyrus plant and hieroglyphs. First of all, we will discuss the location of Pakistan. So, Pakistan is located in the continent Asia. Yes, very nice. What is this class? What can you see? Yes, you are right. It's a world map. Now we are going to locate Egypt on this world map. Can you see Egypt? Yes, Egypt is highlighted in the map. And do you know that what is the capital of Egypt? Yes, it's written over there. Very nice. The capital of Egypt is Cairo. Very nice class. And you can also see River Nile. Now I will tell you about Egypt. Egypt has a dry climate and most of its area is covered by desert. That is the part of world's largest Sahara Desert. And class, do you know that Egypt is a dry country? So it is mainly desert and it has very little rain. So River Nile flows through Egypt to Mediterranean Sea. It is an important river for Egyptians because without River Nile, all the country would be desert. You can also see River Nile with the Egypt in the map. Very nice. Okay class, now I will tell you more facts about River Nile. So, River Nile is more than 6,650 km long. It flows through Egypt to Mediterranean Sea. And very interesting fact is that every year River Nile used to flood between June to September, and flood water left rich black mud on the bank of river, which is good for growing crops and making bricks. What is this class? What can you see? Yes, you are right. This is a picture of River Nile. Now I will tell you that how River Nile was formed. So class, River Nile was formed due to a lot of rain and flood. The rainwater made its path to flow along the desert and this water channel formed into River Nile. As you can see, beautiful picture of River Nile. Now we are going to discuss about the uses of River Nile. So class, River Nile was used by Egyptians for drinking. It was also used for watering the crops and animals. And from River Nile, people caught fish for food. And it was also used for traveling, as boats were the easiest way to travel at that time. Now I will tell you about the houses in ancient Egypt. The people of ancient Egypt built their houses with bricks made from mud mixed with straw. They left them to dry in the sun. So it means that the houses in ancient Egypt were made of mud bricks. The houses had high window with no glass to keep the house cool by letting warm air out. The houses were on high platform to save their houses when river gets flooded. Their houses had outdoor kitchen to keep the heat and smoke out while cooking. And they paint their walls white because white color reflects sunlight and keep the house cool, as white color does not absorb light. You can also see a house in this picture which is from ancient Egypt. What can you see on your screen, class? You can see some plants, but what are they? Okay, don't worry, I will tell you. It's a papyrus plant. Now you must be thinking that what is papyrus? Papyrus was one of the most important plants in ancient Egypt. This plant grew along the bank of river Nile, and papyrus plant is good for making a type of paper. That is why it is very important plant in ancient Egypt. So class, can you tell me that what are these three pictures about? You people have your books with you. Yes, think about it. Very good. The first picture is of Pharaoh. Very nice. And the second picture is of mummy. Very good. And the third picture is pyramid. Very nice, class. Class, now we are going to discuss about Pharaoh. Have you heard this word before? Pharaoh? Maybe or maybe not. Okay, I will tell you that who is a Pharaoh. Beta ji, the king of ancient Egypt was called the Pharaoh. And Egyptians used to worship the pharaohs as their gods, as we used to worship Allah Almighty, but Egyptians used to worship pharaohs as their gods. And on your screen you can see the picture of a pharaoh. Now we will discuss about Tutankhamun. Have you heard this word before? Do you know who is Tutankhamun? Okay, I will tell you. Class, Tutankhamun was the boy king. He was very young when he became the king. He became king almost 3400 years ago. He was only 9 years old when he became the king. He was famous because of his tomb. And he died when he was almost 18 years old. Class, what can you see in this picture? This picture is of mummy. Have you seen mummy? You must have seen mummies in cartoons and movies. It is like a wrapped dead body. So, mummy, what is a mummy? A body of human being or animal that has been preserved and wrapped in bandages, as you can see in this picture. Okay, now I will tell you the process to make mummies. How these mummies are made? First point is that first they clean the body. After cleaning the body, they rub a type of salt all over the body to dry it and to stop it from rotting. Then they wrap it in strips of cloth. This is how mummies are made. Class, now what can you see? It's a pyramid. Very nice. And in this pyramid you can see different levels. And these levels are according to the rank of the people in the society. So, pyramids were special tombs for very important people. It used to keep the dead body safe from rotting after death, and there were tombs for kings and pharaohs. And people were buried according to their rank in the society. So class, now I will tell you about the Great Pyramid of Giza. It is also known as the Pyramid of Khufu. It is the oldest and largest pyramid in Giza. It is made up of limestone and granite. And it was also made from big blocks of stones about 2560 BCE. And ancient Egyptians believed it as the tomb of Pharaoh Khufu. It has rooms, staircases, and passageways. But robbers in ancient times stole everything from inside. So class, I've told you na that in pyramid people were buried according to their ranks in the society. If someone is rich, so it will be buried first, and if someone is very poor, it will be buried later. So rich people's mummies were put in pyramids along with furniture, jewelry, food, clothes, etc. But when poor people died, their body has no painted case and they were only buried in the sand. And poor people were buried with only few things with them. Now I am going to tell you about pharaohs and their slaves. As I've told you in the previous lesson, that who were pharaohs? Yes, pharaohs were the kings of ancient Egypt, and people of ancient Egypt used to worship pharaohs. Okay class, do you know that thousands of workers built pyramids and temples? And slaves cut and carried the heavy stones? Some poor families sold their children as slaves. How pity! And rich people did not pay the workers. Pharaohs kept people captured in battles as slaves. So class, now I am going to tell you about Pharaoh Ramesses II. Pharaoh Ramesses II was also known as Ramesses the Great, and he was the third pharaoh of the 19th dynasty of Egypt. He is often regarded as the greatest, most celebrated, and the most powerful pharaoh. And he drew pictures and stories of his battle on the walls of the building. And in this picture, he is aiming the bow towards his enemy. Okay class, so now I am going to tell you about the gods and goddesses of ancient Egypt. Okay, we will discuss about 4 gods and goddesses: Anubis, Osiris, Isis, and Horus. You should know about these 4 gods and goddesses. First of all, I am going to tell you about Anubis. Anubis was the god of funerals and mummies, and he had the head of a jackal. Jackal is a kind of wolf. This is the identity of Anubis. Okay, now I am going to tell you about Osiris. Osiris was the god of life after death. He was also the god of the Nile flood, and he had a pharaoh's long beard. Next we have is Isis. Isis was the goddess of motherhood. She wore a headdress shaped like a throne. Last is Horus. Horus looked like a man with the head of a falcon. Falcon is a bird, and he was the god of the sky and war. So class, this was the identity of the gods and goddesses in ancient Egypt. Okay class, now I am going to tell you about the interesting facts about tomb of Tutankhamun. Okay, so class, Howard Carter was an English archaeologist and Egyptologist. So Howard Carter found a wooden coffin covered with gold, and he also found a gold mask of King Tutankhamun. And do you know that gold mask was made up of 22 pounds of gold? Wow! And one more fact about tomb of Tutankhamun is that his tomb was called as KV62. What does KV stands for? KV means Valley of the Kings. And why we write 62 with it? Because it was the 62nd tomb found there. These were the interesting facts about tomb of Tutankhamun. So class, as I've told you about Howard Carter, that he was an archaeologist and he has spent many years looking for Tutankhamun's tomb, and he found it in 1922. And Howard Carter also found a painted wooden coffin covered with gold. He found big statues of Tutankhamun and Egyptian gods, and he also found a mummy of Tutankhamun with a gold mask. This was the work of Howard Carter towards Tutankhamun. Now our next topic is hieroglyphs. Have you heard this word before? Hieroglyphs? I think this is a new word for you. Do you know what are hieroglyphs? Hieroglyphs is a type of writing of ancient Egypt. Class, do you remember that in our previous lessons we have discussed about writing of Indus Valley? Indus Valley people used to write on seals. So here we are going to discuss about the writing of ancient Egypt. The ancient Egyptians wrote about everyday life and about their religion. Their writing was like a type of pictures, as you can see the picture. And these pictures are called hieroglyphs. So their writing was like pictures. Okay, now I will tell you that what hieroglyphs tell us about. So class, the hieroglyphs tell us a lot about the life in ancient Egypt. It tells us how they farmed. They tell us about people's work. It tells us about the lives of important people. It tells us about the gods they worshipped. And it also tells us that what happened to people after they died. So class, now what can you see in this picture? Yes, you are right. This is papyrus plant. We have discussed about papyrus plant in our previous lesson. Now let us discuss it again. What is the use of papyrus plant in ancient Egypt? So class, as you know this, that papyrus plant is grown at the bank of river Nile. And the ancient Egyptians used this papyrus plant to make a type of paper. They rolled the paper and tied it to make a type of book. and they wrote on papyrus as well as on the walls of tombs. It's time to see that what have you learned in today's lesson. So it's checkup time. First blank is Pakistan is in the continent of dash. Next blank is the river Nile flows through Egypt to the dash sea. Third blank is the Great Pyramids of Giza is made from dash of stone. Next blank is dash were special tombs for very important people. Hurry up, think about the answers. Your fifth blank is the king of ancient Egypt was called the dash. Next is Howard Carter found a wooden coffin covered with dash. Seventh blank is the ancient Egyptians used the papyrus plant to make a type of dash. And last is most pharaohs built dash for worshipping their gods. Hurry up, think about the answers. These are very easy. So now it's time to check the answers. The first answer is Pakistan is in the continent of Asia. Next is the river Nile flows through Egypt to the Mediterranean Sea. Third is the Great Pyramids of Giza is made from big blocks of stone. Fourth is pyramids were special tombs for very important people. Number fifth blank was the king of ancient Egypt was called the pharaoh. Sixth is Howard Carter found a wooden coffin covered with gold. Remember? Yes, very nice. Next blank was the ancient Egyptians used the papyrus plant to make a type of paper. And last blank is most pharaohs built temples for worshipping their gods. So these were the answers, class. I hope that you have found the answers. Very good. So class, now it's time to discuss your home task. As you know that this was the revision lesson. So what you have to do? You have to revise all the main points from your chapter and revise book page number 61 to know what hieroglyphs tell us about the life in ancient Egypt. These all points are very important. So, must learn all the points related to hieroglyphs. I hope that all the points are clear to you now. Now it's time to say goodbye. Take care of yourself, class. Allah Hafiz.